Dad became the head football coach at Woodlawn High School in 1971. He was 29 years old. He didn't know that he was going to be, his first year of head coaching was going to be the year that the federal government mandated integration of the high schools. From about 63 through 71, Birmingham had become known as Bommingham because the prevalence of bombings that were executed by the KKK and other white supremacists and other racists who just didn't like black people. And so the kids coming into the school, they had never been around white people, and the white kids had never been around black people. And it wasn't like everyone hated each other, but there was a lot of suspicion, a lot of fear. Dad came into that situation and he just wanted to win. He was very driven to win, and he was looking for some way to be able to have some unity on his team at Woodlawn. The first couple of years that he coached, the teams had moderate success. They were, first year they were like 5-5, and then they were 7-3, but there were still just cliques. It wasn't that they were always fighting. It's just that the black guys were over here and the white guys were over here. Dad was having a camp, and camp was a glorified way of saying you're gonna sleep in the gym. So he had all his team, they would eat breakfast, they'd go practice, they'd come eat lunch, they'd go practice, and they'd come in, have dinner, and he would try to have a motivational speaker or something like that. And it was at that time that a man named Wells Goebel came to my dad's office and asked if he could speak to the football team. My dad said, "What do you want to talk to my kids about?" And he said, "I want to talk to them about Jesus." And my dad, at that time, my dad really felt like if you came to know Christ, you'd get soft. And he said no, and Wells Goebel continued to push him. And Dad relented and said, "Okay, I'll give you about 15 minutes after dinner tonight." Wells shared the gospel, and the entire team came to Christ. And my dad didn't. He sat up in the bleachers above all the guys and watched this spectacle unfold beneath him. He also thought in the back of his mind that these guys, this will wear off. This is an emotional experience. He went to a Fellowship of Christian Athletes meeting. It was in a white, all-white section of town in a little more wealthy area, and he was concerned that the family would not let the black kids in, and he was afraid that maybe the black kids wouldn't show up. And Dad went and saw that this family was welcoming all the kids, and that the black kids and the white kids were sitting with their arms around each other, they're praying together, they're laughing. And my dad said he didn't have that in him. He didn't have what they had. He slipped out the back and began praying as he drove home, and arrived back at our house and got on his knees and met Jesus that night. And he said from that moment on, he knew how to love people. From that day forward, as his son, there wasn't a day that went by when we were together that I can remember him not either kissing me on the head or hugging me and telling me he loved me. He became a lover of people. After Dad came to Christ, the influence of the gospel on the football team was starting to spread into the community through the kids. Likewise, probably similar to how it had affected my dad, there were teachers who began to see the difference in the students. And really, it just became an undeniable revival. It was, the Spirit of God was working. It's just amazing to see what God can do when just simple obedience. You know, Wells Goebel obeyed God and went and spoke to this football team. My dad was just a regular old football coach. He just wanted to win games. But when Christ got a hold of him, it transformed him, and he began to do things for the right reasons. And God did something miraculous through the city. Where we are today is not too dissimilar from what it was like here in 1973 and 1974. And as a result, what God can do today is not dissimilar from then either. He can come in and do a revival. I deeply desire that we, as the body of Christ, begin to be unified, and therefore the world will know that we are His disciples by the love that we have one for another.
Wow.
The world will know that we are His disciples. Why? Because we love one another.
Yeah.
What a great message, what a great story. And wouldn't it be great for have that same story repeat today? One of the phenomena that's happening is that in the cities where we're seeing so much in terms of protest and riots, we're now also seeing revivals as people are saying, only God can solve this. Only God can bridge the divide.
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie?
I did not see what
I haven't seen it either, but after that piece, I'm like, wow.
You're going to go see it?
I am definitely going to try and order it on Amazon Prime, see if it's on Netflix, whatever. That's powerful. Like, that is truly amazing. And I love what he said, that it's a representation of what God can do even today. You know, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And what he did in that town through those football players, he can do through you and I today.